Hello and welcome back to another Betting Bankers live stream. We're here to discuss all things sports gambling related with a focus on soccer, horse racing, NFL and NBA. We share our bets before the event starts and then we monitor the progress as the action happens. Let's get cheering on those winners and making some money.
Yep.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Betting Bankers. Again, our semi-traditional Wednesday night show. So how's everybody getting on?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
I'm good, yeah. I'm an awful lot happier having seen Vardy not get to take that penalty. It's a bit of a...
Yeah, there's a good bit of action in the 3 Premier League games. I see our Leeds have just gone 4-2 up against Newcastle.
Oh yeah, there's actually quite a few people have got Bamford in 5 scores as well, but I'm just kind of hoping that Vardy is the one that knocks them all out. So that's
it's looking highly likely now.
Yeah, there's quite a few games on tonight, but we're going to focus on the Inter Milan Napoli game. We've got our big rolling accumulator is kind of got. Would you call it an accumulator, Slats?
I don't know if you can call it an accumulator because it's just one player, one bet over and over. So
it's essentially an accumulator. It works the same though. You're rolling the odds, or you're rolling.
It does, yeah. I mean, you're getting combined odds over time, yeah.
For like a parlay, as we would call it.
That's it. North America.
Yeah, it's actually the picture of today's parlay has been trimmed inadvertently, but I did see it when he sent it earlier. It was the 6-leg parlay or whatever it was called. It's such a
Gotta get with it at the old North American terms.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Lukaku bet, like I'm only disappointed we didn't start doing this earlier because we've spoken about it on the stream, pretty much since day one, and he's delivered. Nearly every game that we've mentioned, I think he's delivered. So what bet is it? I think it's bet 5. This is it? And 6. If we win this and one more, it should be turning a tenner into $1,000.
Yeah. So for anyone who wasn't tuned into our show last Friday or our Twitter stream this day last week, maybe Slatch, you can give them a quick run through what the bet actually entails.
Yeah, sure. I mean, all we need is Lukaku to get 2 shots on target throughout the course of the game. So we don't need him to score. He did score last week. I think he ended up with 4 shots on target. Yeah. It's a relatively new market on Betfair, on the sports book at betfair.com. And often what we find is that these kind of new markets, and you were out LB, weren't you? I think you had a term for it and all, like just that.
Like remember that in.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah. They're just trying to get interest into the market, right? They're trying to get people backing on it, and they've time. Over the course of time, they'll adjust that down to ensure that they're locking a profit. But for now, they're probably willing to take a small loss while they tweak it and while they get a bit of interest in the market and maybe get new customers because people see that that this market is available.
Bet365 are probably the standard bearer for gambling advertising there everywhere. But they, in their ads now, their build a bet, they actually highlight the shots on target, which in their market is pretty underdeveloped. Yeah, I saw it last weekend. I'm pretty sure it was Bet365. It definitely wasn't Betfair. It was one of the other ones, and they had, because building.
It's not surprising that they're all competing against each other, so they'll see what markets each other has, and they'll look to replicate if they can.
Yeah, exactly.
But certainly this one, I think it was you pointed it out initially, and Gary's mentioned it a few times that just with Lukaku, there's far too much value. He's the type of striker. There's some strikers who'll score. They'll take maybe 2 shots and hit the target with 1, and that'll be a goal. They'll only kind of shoot where there's a very good chance of scoring. Yeah. But then Lukaku will take a lot of ball into him, and he'll have a go, and he won't always score, but he'll have a shot. At the moment, he's actually on great form, scoring anyway. So we could nearly be doing the bet, backing him to score rather than backing him just to hit the target.
Yeah.
But it does favor. There was that game. Who was it they played in the Champions League last week? The 0-0 draw. Shakhtar, yeah. And so, if you were backing him to get a goal, you would have fallen in that game. Finished 0-0. Somehow Inter didn't manage to get the win. They got knocked out of the Champions League, but he still got 2 shots on target.
He had them inside 25 minutes.
No, that was the last game in Serie A.
Oh, yeah. That was
within
insane.
20 or 25 minutes.
Because I'd actually put it in an accumulator, and I had a few different. It was actually one Gary had picked out, like 5 or 6 players to have their 2 shots. And I went in just after the match kicked off, and it was the green tick. And I was like, what's going on here? Did I get the time of the match wrong? And then I flicked it on. It was 22 minutes or something. So, yeah, pretty nicely done. Yeah, we've talked about it a lot of times, that shots on target market, and it doesn't seem to add up. But at least in terms of Lukaku, it makes no sense at all. Because
No, not at all. So I'm trying to think back on the bets now. So a tenner turned to 30. Then I put the 30 on him and got 55. 55 in the Shakhtar game. I actually didn't get it on at kickoff. Inside even game, but he drifted to even money by the time I got on him. So that turned 55 into 110. And then against Bologna, I think he was 5 to 6. So we turned that 110 into just a little over 200. Tonight, okay, it's a tougher game. It's Napoli. They're at home though. But yeah, Betfair have given them 7-5, which just seems so high for his form. So I think that'll bring us up to about 480. And then if we get him at something like 6-5 or even 11-10 for the following game, that'll push us over the £1,000 mark.
At that point, then we're 10% of the way there on our 10 to 10. You're right though. Whoever said it in the group during the week that you won't get those bets on the sports book, like that market is not on the exchange. And for any of the less experienced gamblers who are watching this show, you know, bookies will pretty much stop taking your bets at a certain point. And
especially the more kind of novelty the bet and the more specialist the bet, the lower the liquidity on it, the smaller the market and the less they'll accept as a stake.
Yeah.
You know, where you'll hear of people putting on, you know, a good few hundred, even $1,000 on a horse in a big race, you know, fair enough. But on a player to get a couple of shots on target in a, you know, Serie A game, you're just not going to.
Yeah, I wonder, you know, some of the markets never evolve into having exchange liquidity, but if that one does, I wonder what kind of anti-fun human would be laying
shots. I know.
Yeah. Just seems so, like, how do you do it? I don't even think I could lay, you know, centre backs or, you know, even that absolute pain in the neck goalkeeper that we were watching last week who had his shot on target. You know, it must have been about 500 to 1, but.
Yeah, anyway. One market that I have got on the exchange a few times, and it's a little similar, is players to score 2 or more goals. And it is on the exchange, and you know, I'd always kind of be backing, you know, maybe defenders that come up for corners or this sort of thing. And you might get them at like 50 to 1, and it's that you'd be going, who is laying a player to score twice? You know, to take £2 off 100 or whatever. You know,
I wonder, do some of those markets, they must be bookies doing that, because
could be a bit of that, them just laying off their stake.
Yeah.
Or it could just be bots that, you know, that have some program into the stats players, and they'll be willing to lay a ton of players at certain odds and know that they'll kind of scrape return over time.
Yeah. Gary's not with us tonight, but it's one for him and his stats corner about, you know, I wonder that market, is it priced up on goals or is it priced up on shots? Like, would there be a difference between a guy who has 5 shots a game but never scores, or a guy who just, you know, never scores generally? You know, maybe I'm not explaining that very clearly, but essentially, is the shots on target odds a derivative of his goal scoring or something?
Goals he scores, yeah. Or is it? Yeah, it'd be very difficult for them to build it out unique to each player.
And I don't think games are. It was actually, when we move on to the Friday night action later on in the Serie B, I was looking at the games. You know, last night there was a few, and actually the goals came kind of late, and it wasn't as bad as I'd first thought. But they don't seem to be treating teams differently, even though some of them seem to, you know, have very different goal scoring patterns. Then I think they definitely work off averages. You know.
Yeah, they have to really. I mean, you know, it'd be just such a big operation to dig down into that level of detail for every game.
Yeah. Like maybe in the Premier League they will, because there's such a volume, and you know, when we talk later on about the NFL, those markets, especially in America, they probably do. But you know, Serie B and even Serie A, they won't. There won't be enough people betting on them.
So
Mark,
yeah, that game is kicked off anyway.
Romantic lighting over there in Poland.
I was actually thinking, I'm a little dark here as well. I'm gonna just
your shirt is blinding, so it is.
You know in Pulp Fiction when they open the briefcase and the glow just comes out onto them. That's what
I'm
I'm
watching the Milan game live here anyway, so I can
keep us posted. Yeah.
Some fine results there in the Premier League. I'm just catching up with them now. I was in work, so I didn't get a chance to see them really. But some fine results this evening, Abby.
Yeah, yeah. A little bit behind schedule myself since we've come online here, but I was sure that Arsenal would probably throw it away after they conceded that red card again, but they seem to have just about held on. What's it, 96 minutes there now?
Yeah.
Leeds are back to their goal-around ways. They had a lot of high-scoring games there early in the season.
Arsenal did, yeah. It's
no, Leeds. Sorry, Leeds won 5-2.
Leeds, sorry, yeah. I'd say they cost a lot of people money after that, because I'd say they went into every 2.5 goals bet every weekend and just went nowhere.
It's always that decision. Do you jump on a team when you start seeing a pattern, or do you actually back the opposite where it's going to return to normal over time? So if they've been above average period, then you can kind of expect the opposite.
It's like that. I don't know if any of you ever used to watch those Darren Brown shows, and he's tossing the coins. I think he tosses 20 heads in a row, but then he shows you that he's actually tossed like 15,000 coin tosses in a row, and there was just happened to be 20 heads at some point in the middle. It's like that. You see those matches.
Okay, right.
There's 3-0 for Leeds, and you're like, God, that's what's going on there. But they'll just get that exception over 200 games. They get that kind of fluke.
Yeah. So what's the Arsenal second red card in 2 games?
Yeah, they've had a couple more this season as well. I think they're an awful lot of undesirable records now.
Yeah.
Was it us talking about the foul throws? No. So
no.
I was watching. I don't know who they were playing. Maybe I think it might have been the Wolves game, and Bellerin threw a foul throw. And it was actually a second foul throw of the match, but it was the first one that got picked up. And it was turned over, and then Gary Neville said, they started laughing. He's like, I can't remember the last time he'd seen a foul throw. I was watching the match with somebody, and I was like, that's at least the third foul throw I've seen this season by Bellerin, right? And then after the match, then Opta released their stats, and there's been 16 foul throws in English football this season, and Bellerin was 5 of them. He's the only player in Europe to have made more than 1, and he's made 5. You're just like, it's just criminal. Like, and the thing, like, I can remember he's done it before. He definitely made 1 or 2 last season. It's just the most mentally lazy. I'm just not bothered doing this, so I'm just going to have.
But what's the point in it? Like the real, like the foul throw. I mean, there's foul throws in every game, according to my opinion, my understanding.
No, there is. But the thing was, I had seen him do he did one. It was just he may as well have underarmed it. It was so bad. And
imagine they changed it, and you got one hander, or literally do whatever you wanted to get it.
Be like dodgeball. There'd be people hurling
over the shoulder with one arm.
They're essentially one-handed. Like they're throwing off one hand if you see them wind up, and then they'll just like touch it with the other one, so there's 2 hands on it, but the power is coming out of one hand.
Yeah, but it's like for those rules, it's just it's just pay lip service to the actual rule itself. Like if you make it so obvious that people are going to say, why is the ref not blowing up here? So you have to just not give him a decision to make. And he'd made one right in front of the ref. It was an obvious foul throw, got away with it. 5 minutes later, it was a throw from nearly the same position, and the ref just had.
How's he doing? Taking his feet off the ground, was he?
Yeah, he stepped in, right, and he had clearly one hand. And he was clearly.
I mean, it has to be terrible. It has to be terrible for a Premier League referee.
Yeah.
They tend to happen when a player comes too close, so they're nearly mid-thrown at the player, and the player runs into them, and they kind of have to do it where they're throwing it downward.
Just drop it at his feet.
To get at his feet.
Yeah. Like that's one of the
one hand. Yeah, that's shocking. Like, I mean, that's basic stuff that you should never be doing at any level of football.
No.
I mean, it's great crack when you get a foul throw awarded in your favour in the Sunday League. It's a lovely little change of direction.
You can have a good laugh at the player you're playing against then too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially when you have 2 or 3 in a game.
Is this your first time? Buddy? No, I'd say they're saying that. I'd say you'd imagine Bellerin gets a bit of abuse on the pitch too. I know if I was playing against him, I think
we've lost Mark, have we?
The man with the plan. The man with the agenda.
So I think I had a slight connection issue there.
I'm just keeping an eye at the moment on this Inter Napoli game, but there hasn't been a shot on target yet. No, it's only 10, so we'll be panicking just yet anyway.
No.
Because while you were away, lads, I said I'm actually watching it live here, so.
Oh, really?
I'm all over it.
I mean, PK, what minute are you watching it on? A kind of a dodgy screen that's a bit behind, or are you right up to speed with it?
I should be close up to speed. It's 10.5 minutes gone now. 10 minutes 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah, it's just 11 where I'm looking at on Bet365.
Yeah, be pretty close though.
Yeah.
For in-play bets going forward, Bayern have gone 1 down. This is usually my kind of market to have a look at.
Your market all over, yeah.
That sounds exactly like your type of market.
Yeah.
Is that just kicked off though? Is it a bit early for you?
Yeah, it's a bit early to get much value out of it, but
there's still 5 to 6, and yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, 5 to 6 actually, considering they're pretty much dominating. Well,
it's mad. Wolfsburg, what is shown on Bet365, they've had 4 attacks and 4 shots and 3 on target. That's some return. Like compared to Munich, they've had 25 attacks. Now it's showing Wolfsburg have had 4 attacks and 5 shots, which is a crazy return. And yeah, Munich have had 25
2 shots
attacks.
from attack.
2 shots from attack. Yeah, I mean, it can happen, I guess. But
I think we might have mentioned it on a previous stream, but I definitely remember it was one of the matches, one of those sort of typical Arsenal against United matches around the time were kind of gone to crap, and Rooney scored. United won 2-1. And had one shot on target and managed to win the match 2-1. It was just the most bizarre thing. They were.
That's crazy. So the other way, like a deflection or something, was it?
Yeah, an own goal. And actually, even the shot on target was a deflection as well. It was absolutely shocking.
Really?
Nice stats.
Well, come here. Sorry, just going back to the Arsenal thing. Like, what's the story there? Like, he's safe as houses, is he, or like, are we starting to murmurs or what?
No, he's safe. It's a strange one. Like, I mean, we talked about it before you came on early, or just before we came on air. Aubameyang has carried them for probably a season and a half. And as soon as his form just sort of unraveled a bit. I think definitely spoke about it. There's no creativity in that team. I think Aubameyang broke a record. Shots he scored, goals he scored from consecutive shots. He might get 2 shots in the game, score 2 goals. He might get 2 shots in the game, score 2 goals. And now that he's not doing that, absolutely unable to score. Absolutely unable to score. I think the Ozil thing is probably not going to end up. Won't be a line on Arteta's CV. No, I might have made it. Modern managers like to make a bold decision when they join. And kicking Ozil out of the squad. Seemed like a good one to do. There's literally no other creative midfielder in that team. Now you've got Aubameyang's not scoring every shot he takes. And now they're in trouble. So.
I mean, it's worked out a bad move career-wise for Aubameyang, hasn't it? Like, he's
surely.
The thing is, this is around.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, the other side of that, it wasn't exactly clamouring if clubs trying to sign him. He wouldn't have been cheap. You'd expect high wages, and he wasn't going to go to Bayern. Maybe an Italian team might have taken him. Barca have no money. So I don't think
It
wasn't
limited, like.
Yeah, I think a lot of that gets overplayed now. I think certainly last summer there was very few clubs made huge signings. And if you're going to make one when all the clubs run out of money, you're not going to sign a guy in his 30s,
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think.
I didn't realise he was in his 30s.
Yeah, he was a kind of a late bloomer, so people haven't been talking about him as long as other players, and then he's actually surprisingly never injured. He's just one of those guys, so he doesn't kind of look like he's getting older. But yeah, it's a different day. Yeah. So
the retirement fund has been boosted nicely.
Yeah.
I mean, just sign Jack Wilshere back on a free. Let him rebuild his career.
He's floating around. There was loads of players. I think it was. I mean, I've had arguments and discussions with this with other people. The club is so badly managed behind the scenes at the minute that you could go into a season. How anyone can say, Arteta is his first proper season as a manager. He's going to make mistakes, but you can't. There's somebody else needs to be in the background and say, listen, you can't kick him out. And if you're going to kick him out, you need to get somebody else in. You have to sell somebody. You can't just go, okay, he's the manager, he makes all the choices, even though he's been a manager for 4 months. There's stuff he would have had to deal with. And I think maybe his education at Man City might have been slightly skewed in the fact that short players never something they had a problem with.
No, and Guardiola had the respect, he had the pedigree that Arteta didn't have as a manager.
Yeah.
Like what did he do? The Ozil thing to just kind of stamp authority over?
I don't know.
I mean, it seems like a weak thing to do. That you can't manage him.
He tried bringing him in, reintegrating him into the team a lot. The tail end last season, I thought Ozil played actually quite well in the matches that he played in. And then there was just discussions over summer. I know they tried to buy him out of his contract fully. Just pay him a lump sum for the money they owed him, and he said no. And then they just kicked him out. I don't know the scenes. And if they came out, you could spin it in a different light, and sort of say, if somebody's getting special treatment, then it can kind of reduce the performance of the other players. So I could understand it, but now there's just like I said, an attack midfielder role, because none of the young fellas are performing at the level you'd hope, and then the rest of them are, as much as they're obviously paid, they're all kind of industrial midfielders.
LB, whatever happened to that fella that was doing well last season for a bit, Martinelli?
He got injured. He's actually coming back now. He's playing with the under 21s, but he's been out 10 months with an injury.
Oh, that'd be why. Yeah. I remember he had a good run last season and looked decent, but
he's very good. Yeah, just I think he scored something like four consecutive games, and then did something to his hamstring, one of his leg muscles. Anyway, he's gone for a long time. So I don't think even if he was around, I think it's just when a team starts to have one bad run, everything seems to go on top of itself.
Self-fulfilling after a while, it's hard to break out.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually see Gabriel's red card tonight, but Jack's red card was the most stupid red card I've seen in a long time. And they were actually lucky not to get a second one straight after, because about 2 passages of play later, and then he did the exact same thing, maybe even more blatant. The ref went over, checked VAR, and just got a yellow card for it. So
I think I read somewhere that in another WhatsApp group that it was 2 very stupid yellow cards. They were within 5 minutes of each other as well, 68 minutes and 72nd or something. So
when you do give the manager time to haul him off the pitch. So
when you do 2 bookable things in the space of 5 minutes, you have to take ownership.
That's another thing that becomes self-fulfilling. Like once you get a reputation for kind of stupid fouls as a team, the refs will just get trigger happy with those red cards.
Yeah.
Lewis is probably a bit like that, is he? He's had a lot of moments in his past.
Yeah, I know. I read as well. I think 2 years Arsenal gave away more penalties than he had in like 7 years at Chelsea and 5 years in some other club. Just poor.
Poor is one word for it.
Yeah. It's always the
target in the Inter game anyway.
No, it's been very slow. Yeah. And from the half I'm keeping on, it seems to be mostly Napoli as well. The half action that's happening.
Yeah, maybe it looks balanced enough.
It is pretty balanced.
There's not much going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's great though with all the matches on, isn't it? That 6 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League and 8 o'clock. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
They're not working till all hours. Like, it's, you know, come home from work, have your dinner, get 2 games in it. That's what you're about.
Yeah. From home, actually, and watch soccer all day.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
The only thing is when fans are back in properly, it's an absolute pain in the neck for the fans to get there for those times. You know, 6 o'clock is tough, and especially now most of them have extra security and all that kind of carry on. But I suppose if you didn't have them regularly, you know, if it was just like if your team didn't play 6 o'clock all the time, you had to be once every 2 months. Maybe if you could clock out earlier or something. But I like them from a TV point of view, they're great.
Yeah.
I do think soccer is kind of going down the American football route.
Soccer.
When you compare it to another football,
Soccer.
it seems to be getting fully organised now for television as opposed to they're nearly blatantly doing it. You know, at least the NFL is accepting that. But Premier League seems to be going the same way.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, there's so, like, I just feel like watching I know the ownership structure and stuff in the NFL has way more access to clubs and all this carry on, but like the behind the scenes stuff that the NFL does for their network, if it was done in the Premiership, would be fantastic. Like, imagine going into a club pre-season. Like, I know, you know, they have to. You're cutting squads in the NFL, and there's a lot more on the line. But like all the behind the scenes, like, I don't know, I just feel like there's way more behind the scenes access and that sort of thing in the NFL that the Premier League doesn't do.
Do they ever show footage from dressing rooms in the Premier League?
No, on Amazon. Like Liverpool had one season of it, Spurs last season. Like when those kind of Amazon documentaries, but even those, I'm not even sure if those are legitimate game day kind of interview or videos, because I know the one of Mourinho, G'ing up the Spurs team, it looked like a kind of a B-level movie. It was very, very hammy. So I don't know if they're actually half-time in a big match they do it. The other thing is, I'll actually look it up and I'll send it on to you guys. I saw a video on YouTube at least 2 years ago, but basically explains how the whole set up the NFL and rules even and how they all changed. It's basically designed to be a good television product. And even that stuff you're saying earlier about how players get cut from squads, that never had to be done in the dramatic way that it's done now, but that's just makes it more entertaining. Premier League and all the European football, it's kind of come the other way.
I've just missed something here, but I think Lukaku had a shot on target.
Oi.
Bet365 still shows 0 anyway.
I need to see a replay. Maybe he missed something. Sorry, I was looking at something else and I missed it, but the camera went to him and the goalkeeper had that ball in his hand. So
that's enough for us. That's a shot on target done.
I'll update you. Sorry.
Halfway there. So it's going to take one to take beside his name now.
Could be false alarm. Could be a false alarm.
No, BK, you've convinced me.
Anyway, sorry. Apologies for interrupting.
Did we get the replay? No, he didn't do it.
It's still ball in play. So ball's still in play. So
even if he's getting the camera on him like that, it means he's doing something right. Getting in on top of the keeper, or getting in the action zone.
Hopefully, it's not one of those ones where he just reached for the ball and it went an inch beyond him and just rolled into the keeper's arms.
It doesn't have any shot on or off target. Yeah, on Bet365 birth, so Betfair isn't showing anything either.
I'm going to check who scored, see what those guys are showing. They seem to be pretty quick at updating these things.
Yeah, well, I think Bet365 are pretty quick at just there being a shot on target. You'd have to look at it.
There's no replay of anything, so maybe it was just some action in the box, and the camera shot to Lukaku, and the keeper does the ball in his hand. So I just thought, anyway, I'll stop.
Please God, the big man. Gary fucking included him in the tweet that went out as well during the week. Please God, we've done everything we can do.
Gary has tweeted Romelu quite a few times in different contexts, which always
slid into his DMs and everything. God knows what he was sending.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only been one shot in the match for Inter, and it was Martinez, and it wasn't on target, so nothing much to get excited about there.
Apologies.
No, that's what we're here for, PK.
No, Jesus, no. We need that fucking win.
Yeah.
What you're saying about the American football kind of reminds me a bit of WWE, that it's kind of like all about the entertainment factor and the, it's all manipulated to just entertainment.
On the field, it's legitimate. Watching the WWE, and you just knew the good guys were always going to win when it came to WrestleMania. So,
I mean, you had the odd heel who had his time in the sun too.
But they were anti-heroes. It kind of had to.
Yeah, they were. They're like the Kurt Angle. I think
back when I believed in wrestling, that was probably the happiest I've ever been when I actually thought it was legitimate. Like,
who won?
No, when I believed in it fully. Like when I didn't choreographed and
back when you're in your early 20s, is it?
Yeah, before you broke me last year.
That put him out with literally over a pint of Guinness. Come here, like, is it a bit like Santa Claus? Like every kid believes WWE is real until about 20.
Some of them still do.
I actually, when I was younger, I knew it was fake and had a gripe with it. I never watched it when I was a kid, and I was like, no, that's fake. Why would I watch it? So it wasn't until like I was 14 or 15 that I actually got into it in the first place, because I realized it didn't fucking matter that it was fake. That's not what it was about. Sell it as a real sport or something like.
I can remember in primary school, everyone used to do it at lunch, wrestle each other. And I remember one guy got DDT'd off of a fence onto the tarmac, and then it became nobody could do anything anymore, completely banned. Just looking back on it, easily could have had his neck broken. But
Jesus, and someone not knowing what they're doing,
but
to somebody else who doesn't.
You watch people getting chokeslammed off of ladders, and you thought it was safe. But before we get too much into the wrestling nostalgia, I think we're going to have to quickly get a couple of items for Friday bottomed out before PK has to step away from us for a few moments. So PK, we'll pass over to you first. You got a couple of games picked out for Friday, do you?
Yeah. Another German game that I fancy for goals. It's Union Berlin, a team that cost us money before. Didn't cost us money, but was the wrong side of a bet. And Dortmund, a team that continuously let me down, so I'm not backing them. But they're good for goals, both these teams. But there's no Haaland there for Dortmund. But Dortmund lost badly last weekend to Stuttgart 5-1. Not sure what that means, but their away form is generally pretty decent. And Union haven't lost in 6 at home. So there's quite a good price for both teams to score and draw here at 9-2. And even for some reason, a strange one on Bet365 is a draw on over 2.5. Now, I suppose that does mean it can't be 1-1. Have to be 2-2 or that. It's 11-1. It's a bit of a flyer, but I can see it. I can see a 2-2 draw, but
I wonder what 2-2 itself actually is priced.
I didn't actually look at that, but there's still a chance. Could be. But I think a safe bet here is both teams to score at 4-6. Union rarely failed to score at home, and Dortmund rarely failed to score away. So I think at 4-6 is pretty decent value if you want to throw in an accumulator. And then obviously both teams to score in a draw is 9-2 if you want to throw that in there, because I think it's the most likely outcome of the game. But 4-6 in any accumulator, I think it's a decent, nice wee.
The 2-2 draw, is that what you mentioned? Is 10-1.
So 11-1.
That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. But Bet365 will have it over 2.5 and a draw at 11-1. So
I like that. I think whatever we do, that both teams to score will be in our Friday combo for sure.
Yeah. And then I looked at the game in Spain too. Bilbao at home to Huesca, and the last time I did Bilbao at home, they fucked me over, obviously. But they won their 3 previous to that at home pretty well, and Huesca haven't won in 8 away. So I think at even money or a little better than even money, Bilbao are a good value for a home win. In that game too, see, Huesca normally score away from home as well though. So there's 9-2 about Bilbao and both teams to score, which is another decent value. Both teams to score in itself seems to be well, considering the market. I think that the Bet365 are saying that they're not going to there's not going to be both teams scoring at 11-10, which means it's like 4-7 for both teams not to score. So they're suggesting the most likely result on their outcomes as well and scores is like Bilbao to win. So at even money for Bilbao to win just in that market, I think is decent value considering Bet365 think Huesca are going to score. So
you said 11-10 for the home win. Is that what you said?
It's even money. I think you might be able to shop around and get better, but I've seen 11 but it's 11-10 for both teams to score.
Oh, okay.
So I think on that one I take Bilbao to win at even money.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm in that kind of frame of mind as well, and I like that there's going to be potentially both teams to score. Just back the win and over 1.5. So then you don't feel too bad if it's the kind of high scoring home win that you expected, but then you don't kind of get hung up on the 2-0 type of thing either. So obviously it's always lower odds, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, and I think that, but at even money, if you fancy Bilbao to win, I think there's enough value there to just throw them in an acca.
Which one of those are you putting forward for the banker active by the night?
I think I'm going to play it safe on the Dortmund game, but let me check. Or that's going to be a 7:30 game, and we know that did just last week, right?
Yeah, but yes. This one seems like a better bet than the one last week, PK. So.
I was thinking that.
What? 3.5 and
actually fucking came good in the end here, did it?
No, it ended with 3.
Oh, just the 3.
Yeah,
it's such a high bar to get over 3.5.
I'm still going to put it in. So.
What time is it kick off, PK?
7:30. I got to leave these German games alone because they all start half an hour earlier than your bets. But
yeah.
Be in by the time your bets.
That'd be lovely. Yeah, come on air at 8 p.m. and yours is already in the bag. So nice.
Yeah.
What odds did you say the safer of your bets is?
4-6.
4-6. Yeah, I think that's nearly what we should be kind of looking at. Or we could be aiming for that sort of a bet for our banker because it's going to be a 5-fold. Like we've been coming close to a few, and they've been adding up to like 50 and 60 to 1 because we've had wider odds in there. But
we get the Friday feeling and just. I think the league sent in one that was like 6-1 on its own. That actually came in for us as well. It was the go ahead and over 1.5 2 Fridays ago. But I think if we all take that risk profile, it's like the streams we did last season at the end of it. We were looking at 70-1, or 700-1 Serie B go to Rams. But I like those fun.
Yeah, nice beers.
Yeah, let's hope so. Dortmund like to screw me over in bets quite a bit, but I'm only asking them to score a goal, so hopefully they can stay good at that.
Yeah. And what about you? I saw that.
Attacking nearly on the cross.
Plenty of time for it, though. The only risk really is that they sub them, so I wouldn't worry until 65 minutes.
Yeah, I see Munich equalised there just before half time as well, so they're back into it for the win. They've gone out to about 13-10, I think.
Yeah.
Seemed decent, but no.
I took a little punt when we looked that time at 1-0.
Oh, you got on at what, like 5-6 or something? 7?
Yeah, 10-11, yeah. So nice. It's a little. It's my market. I was like, sometimes I wait on them just to see if the value goes up, and then I like to take double chance if we see it a bit later. But given it's Bayern at home, I was like, they could well equalise by half time, so I took the even money.
Nice.
And mind you, there's still only 1-2 to win this game.
Did you jump onto that, PK?
Yeah.
Clever.
Roughly even money.
Give us a look.
Lewandowski scored right on half time, actually. And they have pretty much their full team out, so 1-2 isn't that bad of a price.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all, exactly.
What about just actually a couple of matches picked out for Friday as well, yeah?
I do have a few, yeah. Do you want me to do the Dutch first, or does it order?
I'll start in order of preference, I would say.
Yeah, well, the main one I'm looking at, and I think the one I'm going to go for in our banker accumulator, is in Northern Ireland, which I haven't bet on in a while, or certainly not on the stream. The Netherlands, there's not much going on, and I'll talk through what I've seen after. But I think there's a bit of value in the game in Northern Ireland. Friday night, Carrick Rangers, who are bottom of the table, are playing Crusaders, who are third. So, on paper, it looks like a straightforward win on the road for the Crusaders. They're 4-11, which kind of reflects that expectation. But my pick is for them to win with both teams scoring. So you're getting 6-4 for the both teams scoring. The logic behind that, Rangers, a fair bit of their games, they've been losing at home 3 out of 5 defeats. But in those 5 games, they've scored 6 goals. So, despite losing, they're still capable of scoring on home side. Crusaders, then they've struggled a bit on the road this season. They've actually lost 3 of 5 games, losing 3 out of 5 away. Isn't great. They've conceded 8 goals in those 5 games as well. So I still think they'll have enough to get the win against Rangers, but I don't see them doing it without conceding. The last 2 games they've played against each other, Crusaders won 5-1 and 3-1. So I'm kind of expecting something similar there. A straightforward win, but they'll probably concede a goal along the way. So yeah, that's for Crusaders winning, both teams to score. I went for that because when I looked in the Netherlands, so the 2 games that are kicking off at 8 p.m, Alkmaar play Helmond, so that's 17th versus 16th. And then Maastricht play Dordrecht, which is 20th versus 18th. So first of all, I always feel those bottom of the table clashes are a lot more unpredictable. And they're certainly more unpredictable than a top team versus a bottom team. So, one thing I was thinking of going there is to double on both matches as draws. I don't think there's much extra value on draw. They're 13-5 to draw, or 3-1 for a draw with both teams scoring. So I was thinking you could just go 13-5, both teams scoring. That pays 12-1. But I'm not even that confident in it. Maybe a small stake on 2 draws. If you're looking at the matches, like Alkmaar they've 8 defeats in their last 10, 1 win, 1 draw, and 8 defeats. But then Helmond haven't won on the road in their last 5 games. They've only won 2 road games in 10. So they're both losing most of their games. Does that mean they're more likely to draw the match? I do think both teams to score is likely because they're still scoring through those defeats. They're obviously conceding in those defeats. So the double on both teams to score in Alkmaar Helmond and Maastricht Dordrecht pays about even money, which I was considering for our betting bankers. But you need 4 different teams getting a goal each. At evens, I just don't know is there that much value there.
Yeah.
So I think there's more value in the North of Ireland going for Crusaders and both teams to score 6-4. So yeah, that's a lot of it anyway that I've seen.
Exotic. Yeah, I'll just jump into my little bet then. So sticking with the Dutch, Zwolle against Emmen. We've been looking at a bit of Dutch football, like we were saying, because it's always on the Friday. This game is particularly unattractive. So, Zwolle in mid-table, Emmen rooted to the bottom right. They've lost their last 4. They haven't won a game all season. It doesn't look pretty between the 2 of them. They've played 24 games in total, and there's 2 wins out of those games. So neither of them have been doing great. But Emmen have been just terrible. So, and what I think is a safe enough bet. I was just looking at the odds here. Zwolle, they've won the last 3 games against Emmen, notwithstanding their terrible start to the season. They're both conceding a lot of goals, so I think there's going to be a couple of goals. I'm going to back Zwolle in the game. Them to win is they're 5-6, and then them to win with over 1.5 is just the evens. So, Zwolle to win over 2.5 is 8-5. So there's not a huge amount there. I don't know whether I'd necessarily be stretching it too far for the Aka. So, for that one, it's going to be Zwolle to win, and that's it. I think I'm not going to bother. I mean, it's, over 1.5 is only evens. I think over 2.5 is a stretch. So I'm going to just take 5 to 6 on the win. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, does it? I mean, 4 to 5, 5 to 6 kind of for the win. And then Zwal over 1.5, like it's evens on Paddy Power, 23 to 10 on Betway. They're the only ones I can see quoting it. So,
yeah. It's always tempting, but I think we're better off just, sticking with the bet, and it'll still, I mean, even,
an even shot in a game there still even as well. Like,
if we've 5 even shots going into a bet, that's still paying big bucks. Like,
yeah,
10 to 1, I think. I think 5 works out at 10 to 1.
So you said Crusaders to win, and did you? And both teams to score.
Both teams to score. No, that's actually 6 to 4. But I still think there's my other option is the 4 teams scoring in those 2 Dutch games at evens. So it's it looks. I mean, it's a safer bet mathematically, but I just think there's more value in the other one. You need less to happen in the 6 to 4. I really think Crusaders are going to win. So really all you're looking for is Carrick Rangers to get a goal in that match. Like, I think Crusaders will put 2 or 3 past them anyway.
Right.
Whereas you need 4 teams all to score, 4 teams down the bottom of the table all to score. Just one of them could just let you down. Like,
yeah, it's a lot. All right.
So I think both. I think both will happen. I hope both will happen. I'll back both myself. But for the banker bet, I just think there's more value in that 6 to 4 shot.
Oh wow. Salernitana. Yeah, I think you pulled out, did you, LB? Inter rating to Frosinone for the game. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, am I right in thinking you kind of think that's more an overpriced bet? Like, that's maybe 3 to 1, and you're getting 6 to 1, rather than that it's a banker of coming in. It's more the
Yeah. Alessandro Nest is the manager. A quick Google tells me. Jeez. Okay.
Sounds good, because if
A
you're
little double or treble.
fancying them to win with it, then it does feel both teams to score is quite likely. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I just said it's obviously a little private double or treble that you're keeping to yourself the winner. Okay. Yeah. Mm.
They seem to always
Yeah.
play on Friday nights, is it? Now that you say it, Ulster were playing last Friday night as well.
Mm.
Seem to get it out of it, yeah.
I mean, and they're like they're coming back a bit there. We were looking at them and they were solidly mid-table a few weeks ago, but they must have. I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's only a point between them. Sharrow have lost their last two, so yeah, yeah. Can talk to you so much about football, but I seem to have such a familiarity with so many clubs in the Belgian league. Like, you know, yeah. Mm. Yeah, I
Like
have a good feeling.
you do have to, just take your win at some point. You just keep rolling. I mean, eventually he's going to have a game where he doesn't do it. So
Just hope it's not tonight. I couldn't take it. I couldn't
yeah,
take it.
yeah, it's either about getting on, recognizing form early, and getting on before it's more widely recognized, or getting on certainly before the odds are more accurate for it.
Yeah, and were you saying earlier that you're backing that in the sports book, are you, and not the exchange?
It's not available on the exchange. The market isn't.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see how, because I was kind of looking at the game earlier, and I'm pretty sure, like, subconsciously, I had this exact conversation. Two shots.
Cheering on, the ball going wide, and just
Yeah.
boring play in the middle of the park. But yeah, I don't know what makes it go to the exchange from the sports book. Generally, new markets will start in the sports book, and then they'll become available on the exchange later. So I don't know what defines it. I don't know what why they decide when to have it on the exchange or not. But generally, you do get better odds. I just think at the moment the odds are incorrect for this market. So I think sports book will adjust over time. The odds will come in a bit. Like, I do you remember it all? And like, maybe it's just kind of favourable kind of memory or selective memory, as they say. But that first goal scorer odds in soccer, and I'm certain about it in rugby as well, used to be much higher, and they seem to just chipped away at it. You just don't get the same value for players to score first.
Yeah, 100%. They've come down. I can remember back when you'd look at matches. This was back when you'd go into the bookies and fill out, like, before they were even kind of machines.
What I'm thinking of, you'd have the docket for the back end.
And you'd pick your, like, when you pick your combination of, like, who would win the match, and you could tick then a scorecast or a win cast, and you'd be picking, like, reasonable result. Again, you're going back to that kind of Rooney era, like Rooney to score first and United to win. You'd be getting like 40 to 1 on it, or maybe not that high, but you're getting 30 to 1 anyway on that, which was by the most likely guy to score first and the most likely team to win.
The most likely combination doubled up, like
and now you'd be getting like
12 to 1 maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's probably not
8
a great.
to 1.
Yeah, well, they're tiny, like prices. It's definitely because people are doing them a lot, and I'd say people are combining them, and the bookies just aren't bothered, and they know people will keep doing it. So I think that's
what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, lads in the pub on a Saturday, like, they actually don't give a shit. They have or whoever, like, they have a gut feeling that Rooney's going to score. Like, the odds don't really come into it. They're going to back it anyway.
Yeah, you will see it, Lee. I think Dublin is a great example of that. Not that you're in Dublin, but the next time you are, like, the bookies that are beside pubs, the odds are always slightly worse because they know that. Like the one in Ringsend, Slats. You remember the Ladbrokes?
Awful.
It was just across the road between 3 pubs. That the prices were so bad because they got the people anyway. They didn't need to care. And if you had to walk an extra, 300 meters to get down to Paddy Powers, and the odds would be noticeably better.
I never went to other Ladbrokes really, so I always just assumed that was a Ladbrokes thing rather than the location. But what you're saying with the location makes sense. Like,
I've seen it in other cases as well. The ones down, but I won't keep naming these now. But there's a few of them around where it's just, if they're going to get the people anyway, they don't need to have the good prices. So, it is basically what you're saying there, Lee. It's the football crowd on a Saturday in the pub are going to back whatever's going. So,
yeah.
So when this market eventually does move to the exchange, I think the value will all. It'll be more favourable on the exchange, as markets tend to be more favourable on the exchange. There isn't that edge that the bookies carve out, but I still think the value we're getting on Lukaku at the moment won't be matched in the exchange in a couple of years' time. Like, you're doing well to find it anyway, where you can.
Yeah, this is something we can come back to on Friday when we've got the full contingent. Oh, we won't have a full contingent on Friday actually, so maybe we can save it for early in the new year.
Actually, maybe.
Oh, really?
It's quarantining pending results of COVID tests, so it could actually work.
Yeah, so we might have it on Friday, but I follow a couple of people involved in the gambling industry. There's a lot of new exchanges being set up, and their whole goal is to bring, like, institutional, we'll call them bookies, or traders from abroad, like Macau and places like that, in to these low liquidity markets in Europe. So I don't really think they're up and running yet, but there's a few of them that look potentially interesting. And
as like a clearinghouse type of thing, like, or what?
Yeah, so basically one of the ones that they brought up was that, and this is also in America, they're trying to sell, like the NASDAQ are trying to sell derivatives on sports bets, and it's just kind of an interesting expanse of them. So one of them, the most interesting example, or the most easy example, is I can't remember the teams in the NFL last season that is applied to, but say there's a game and it's like, if the Ravens win, they get a home game in the playoffs. To the people who own that stadium, that could be worth, $5, $6, $7 million.
Yeah.
But in the city of Baltimore, 90% of the money will be on the Ravens because, no one's backing against the hometown team. So this stadium would be the one that they would basically take, as effectively options on them losing. So they, because if they win,
if you own, if you own a business that profits a lot from a game being held there, like, you could take that out and.
Yeah, you could just kind of hedge it a bit. So you say, right, the stadium owners say, right, we'll pay $1 million up front, and if they win, we're going to make $5 million back anyway. And if they lose, where we make the other side of that bet.
What if they start speculating instead of hedging and just like back themselves to the ground if they're going to lose the game, and all of a sudden, surprise,
home game for the Ravens, but they sold the stadium, so they actually have to go to the away team anyway because they're homeless. I don't know. Like I'm not actually hugely knowledgeable on this stuff, but it's just stuff I've started kind of come across recently.
No, and like I guess another one would be, don't they say it's the most valuable game, or what do they call it in the UK, is the promotion playoff?
Yeah, exactly. If you were
teams
you got to the final, like, when Hull got to the final a few years ago of the playoffs, the City could easily just take a punt on that because they know they'll make that money back if they qualify. So if they lose, it's interesting.
Yeah. No, but the NFL example that you bring up is very actually interesting, particularly because it's very close to when the event is due to be held. Right? There's not many major sporting occasions that are only decided 2 weeks before they're due to be held, or 1 week before they're due to be held, which that can come down to sometimes.
Yeah.
If the seasons aren't finalized, and like a playoff game, it's like them sees, say, Green Bay, for example, and like Lambeau holds 80,000. There's like I think there's 100,000 people in Green Bay. Like, it's made of people coming in for the weekend. Like, if they have a home playoff game for a business, it's the 17th money spinner, and it probably is worth a lot to some hotels and some businesses and stuff like that. Like, they could be very interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. So I think as a bit more understanding of it, it could expand out. So what they're trying to say is that this will bring liquidity to markets that might not necessarily have a huge amount of liquidity today, and then ultimately that works out better for punters like us.
Some of your risk if you take some of our risk.
There must be something going on behind the scenes, like this, like no way,
some of them. I remember reading another thing. It was a guy complaining that what they call the market makers on Betfair Exchange were not getting a fair deal, and he was kind of saying that that's how the context of moving new exchange basically was like. Whenever a new exchange comes along, they treat the market makers really well, and then over time they just sort of kind of come down hard on them and forget that those people are key to the site functioning. Now, I'm not really sure if a market maker on a betting exchange works like one in real life where they have to have markets available and all that, but it's definitely something I want to learn about more because it's fascinating how all that works behind the scenes. Definitely, if you're trying to find an edge or an angle.
I mean, there is lads out there that are like professionally providing liquidity, laying bets on the exchange to make money.
Yeah.
And what sort of capital would you need to be at that? I mean, fucking.
I don't really know. I mean, I don't know if you could become, say, a market maker on Betfair Exchange for one specific market. Could you do, Serie A shots on target? And if you did, you have to guarantee an amount of liquidity. Well, even look into that. I wonder if they have it on their website because.
Remember hearing a story about someone and they had to put together the money to actually have one of those stalls beside the dog track, you know what I mean, where they're a bookie.
Yeah, the tote or whatever.
Well, not the tote. The tote is the kind of internal bookie of the track, isn't it? Where it's where they do combine just the bookies on the side of the track that just.
Mm-hmm.
10 grand or maybe 30 grand, that sort of region that he had to put forward, front before you could actually get in there. And I heard that the other bookies basically just milked him, kind of teamed up against him and just drove him out of there, by like laying off bets against him and that sort of thing. And kind of using, I guess, a bit of inside information and just kind of killing his market a bit until he was just wiped out and gone again out of it.
That's great, really.
So, I mean, I would say those kind of trackside bookies are real dog eat dog sort of thing, like, and you have to become established and
they'll push down the market,
earn a bit of respect, or they just eat you, I'd say.
But I mean, like who's going on to fucking Betfair Exchange and laying, like apart from our friend who had the machine? I think he used to lay a few bets, did he, in his time? But like.
Yeah, I think it was.
There's a lot of that out there anyway. There's a lot of bots because you can just kind of see, like sometimes if you're in a kind of a market that doesn't have that much liquidity and you put on a bet, you'll see the liquidity moving away. The odds on either side will move away from what you're trying to do because they are trying to lure you deeper toward what's available. If you don't match them instantly, they kind of move away. You can just get a sense.
Draw you away.
But you kind of, what I found is you get a sense that it's not just somebody sat there watching their screen and waiting for action. It's so reactive that it just seems to be simulated.
You can see it for sure in some of the soccer goals markets, and it's like, you're watching the price. As well, when the minutes change, like it just hits 58, 59, 0-0, and the odds just move. And then it gets to the next minute, and the odds just move.
It's just staggered,
Yeah, that's just definitely robots.
So I definitely think there's a lot of that robotics going on in there. A lot of the automated betting going on, and a lot of that I think would be just grinding out small profits, laying big odd markets that generally don't happen.
Yeah, so
that you don't necessarily.
That Lee mentioned, who has the machine or the bot. He's quite knowledgeable. Obviously, I know all that works, and he said it to me before that that's kind of why that thing that you sent on, Lee, of the Paddy Power wrong odds and they wouldn't pay out. Paddy Power, it's a bookie, so it's not the same, but same companies, the exchange, and why they're so kind of anal about the wrong odds is those people. So they kind of say we're not going to be able to find people who'll take and lay bets all the time if they get punished for a mistake, because all their profit is based on the actuarial tables. At this point, I'll make the odds this, and it's very kind of pseudo-scientific. So I know there's a huge amount of analysis done in that side of things, even if I'm not sure how accurate it can be, but.
Background. I'm just after Googling gambling bots there. It's just I don't even know. I wonder what the potential for them is. I'm sure what he was doing was very just scratching the surface and trying to find that little edge in the running market, because that's where he was focused on, was on the races in the running, wasn't it? And looking at
that's what he was doing, and now he's changed it, I think, to some sort of pre-off signs, and he actually backs them now, doesn't lay them. I think his laying thing proved to basically be if you lay 50 to ones, every 50 of them hits, and it wasn't profitable.
Yeah, you get up to your fun like us. We got up to our 20th bet for 1 to 20 shots, and everything went kaput.
Yeah,
you find that if you work on a market and kind of try and get rid of, try and look at every variable, and the closer you get, the closer you end up being at breaking even. You actually get an edge above that. It's impossible, or it's certainly very difficult.
When you get into that statistical side, you end up drifting towards the odds-on one. So I think you could be selected with 7 1 shots. You only need to get 1 in 6 right, and you're profitable. But you can get more than very profitable, But if you are doing it the other way, but if you design a model that predicts 1 to 7 or 7 1 shots, you're going to do very, very well for yourself. So everyone seems to be on the other side of this, where they're like, oh, this is priced at 1 to 2, but it's a good 1 to 2.
Yeah. When we started that super contest, and we were I was thinking about what should be your percentage at the end of the year, your win percentage for that spread spread bet in the NFL, what you're looking at, 55% right as being a very fucking good return for the year.
Yeah, but and as PK pointed out on the previous Friday, that wouldn't even be profitable in the bookies, because they take their cut off the odds. You're not getting even.
You're not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But if you can pick it at 55%, you're way above most people. I think high 60s. I think high 60s wins the official Vegas Super Contest, where you win millions in the prize.
But that's a fucking whoever's winning that is on a heater, in cards, what you'd call a heater. That's just that's not innate knowledge that person has that's beating the market by that significant margin. That's just luck.
I would agree with
definitely
that. The guy, I don't want to be, in case anyone watches this and it sounds like I'm insulting anybody, I'm not. But the guy who won our Super Contest last year, I don't even know him. Just know that the 3 letters that he calls himself in the group, and he won it. Fair play to him. he's definitely more knowledgeable than I am. And he started this season out on fire. I think he went like 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, something like that. And then it completely tailed off. So he had a good run, and then it just does average out over time. So there's no there is some, you can see there's definitely groups in that. I follow the results of that big super contest pretty consistently. And what you see is that there are people who use analytics, machine learning, enormous databases, even have contacts in the NFL itself. And what they end up doing is they go through phases. So when the results kind of go, I don't want to say as expected, but as these people expect, they'll have a great couple of little spell. But then the results go the other way. Like Slat said at the start, with Leeds having a run of 0-0s, and then these people just do really badly, So
I know someone as well who got into and started doing really well at backing like just over goals in games, over 1.5 or over 2.5 goals, and they were doing really well. And then at the end of the season that they kind of started doing it, it turned out that the two main leagues they were at, the Premier League and the Liga, both leagues, it was the highest ever goals per game in both of those leagues in their history. So
wow.
There was that bit of luck that he just kind of got on it at the right time. I don't think it was any prediction on his side that, these are going to be real high scoring seasons. I think he started doing it, was successful, kept doing it, and seasons just unfolded to be the two highest scoring seasons of all time. And then the following season, a lot of those winnings were given back to the bookies because it all kind of normalized again and came back down, or the odds worsened. And continued with the same market.
Like those things that you hear about people doing, and I mean, great, delighted for people who can take that money out of the bookies, but they're not. You haven't discovered anything new.
No.
And I think the NFL spread market is just, there's nothing designed better for the bookies to make killing. There's no way that you can consistently win on that. Now, it's fun. Do you know what I mean? Like the weekend, I sent into the group I did a Trixie of the Trixie or a treble of the on the money line underdogs. And even at that point, you think, even if they nearly all won, or they were all within a good shot, but only one of them beat the spread even in the end.
It's amazing. I just think it's amazing how obviously it gets blown out in cases, but how close it is as well. And the Packers at the weekend, 7 points they won by, the spread of 7.5, and there's so many of them, and obviously there's the blowout, but it's just amazing. And for someone to think,
my new thing now is back in the handicap draw, where you're basically saying the bookies are right, so go with them. That draw.
Yeah.
I read a book. I think I actually sent it on to you, definitely, Slats. Might have been slightly before the betting bankers had our own WhatsApp group. But the guy who won he won $1 billion basically, or the guy who took the bookies for $1 billion, and this American guy and this Australian fella, and it was all the Hong Kong racing. They have a pari mutuel, like a toll system as well. And basically, he got kicked out of Vegas, got kicked out of Europe. And then because he was able to go to Hong Kong and race there, and how much money he took, basically he designed in the early days of computers a computer model for horse racing. And invariably, the model produced the same likely returns as the bookies odds had at the start anyway. So it was just they have all that knowledge. It's already there and done,
Yeah.
So I think, not that we do it here on the show, it's something that we can definitely look to expand into, is just find the ones that are, like we said before, United, when they've gone to crap, but everyone still backs them because they're the favourite team, like Arsenal. For the last month, you could lay them every week, But
that's the thing. It's over an extended period. You're not going to continue to make money off the same market. And like what we're doing at the moment with Lukaku, those odds are going to move in, or his form is going to drop. So it's trying to get on it for the right period and maximise your return during that period, and then
get back the right time. Yeah, exactly.
So I think if we got a Lukaku a bit earlier, we might have made $1,000 off a tenner already, 100 to 1. And we could have got out before this game tonight, which isn't going our way so far. But if we just get that right period, just get the timing of it right. You get the value for this specific period and get back out of it and look for the next thing where you can find the value. I think that's kind of key.
Like the other thing, LB, was remember when we went on that Stags to Lisbon and your mate was there and he was all about it. Like, were you talking to him much? Because I didn't talk to him much about it, but I've never talked to someone who was professional gambler. Like,
no, I did talk to him. I mean, not to the extent that I have any valuable information to share with the group or the viewers here, because he didn't give me a huge amount, but he had some.
But he was very cagey, wasn't he? Like, he was very.
Yeah, but I think he gets, according to our friend, the mutual friend that introduced us to him, I think that guy gets hit for information all the time. Every time he's out, people are like, "Oh, what would you do?" So I think that's what kind of makes him a bit kind of cagey. So might be that going on. I know an awful lot more myself now about betting than I did at that time, so I wouldn't have even known the questions to ask him, really.
Is it just me there, or is it like?
No, I think we've lost LB, have we?
Yeah.
I can see LB now. He dropped for a minute, I think. Are you back, LB?
We're just getting stuck into the exchange. We started with the exchange discussion, Pete.